Mathematicians, it's time to work on some problem solving, and we're going to work on using the triangle method. So when we use the triangle method, we always create a triangle that looks like this, always with the 3 in the top, the 2 and the 1 in the bottom two corners. Now it doesn't really matter whether the 1 or the 2 are here. It doesn't make any difference, but the 3 always needs to be in the top. And then you'll write numbers in each of these boxes as we go. And there's always a takeaway sign on the sides and an adding sign on the bottom of the triangle. And what I like to try to use to remember how to number my problem is a little saying called adding is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Subtracting is 3, 2, 1, blast off. So those are the two little rhymes or the two little sayings I use to help me know how to number my problem when I create it as I read the word problem. So let's look at the first one. The first problem says Mrs. Hatch had 14 pencils. Mrs. McKeef gave her 17 more pencils. How many pencils does Mrs. Hatch have now? So what we'll do is we'll start out and we'll create a number sentence with a box for the missing number. So we know that Mrs. Hatch has 14 pencils and that Miss McKeef gave her 17 more. Giving someone some more means that we're going to add to Mrs. Hatch's amount of pencils. And so we're going to add that. And then the question is, how many pencils does Mrs. Hatch have now? So I'm going to draw a box for that and know that that's what I'm going to have to fill out, is that box. Now, when I am looking at my number problem, it says over here as a reminder, adding is as easy as 1, 2, 3. So this is an adding sentence, so I'm going to number it with my pen. I'm going to number it. This gets a 1, this is a 2, and this is a 3. So if I go over here and I make a new triangle, I'm going to pretend like I made a new triangle. I don't really want to do that because it takes a while on this, and this will let me show you what I need to do here. I'm going to go through and I'm going to fill in the boxes. So box number 1 is 14. So I'm going to put a 14 in this box, and it says that number 2 in my problem is 17. So in corner number 2, I'm going to put a 17, and I still don't know what's in box number 3 up here, so I'm going to leave it blank. Well, then the next thing I have to do is look for a math problem on my triangle. And I see down here that 17 plus 14 is a math problem I can do. 14 minus, or something minus 14 doesn't give me the answer, and something minus 17 still doesn't give me enough information. So I'm going to do a 17 plus 14 math problem. And now that I know how to do addition with regrouping, it's always best to stack and add when you're creating your problem. So I'm going to write my problem here, and I'm going to say 7 plus 4 is 11. So I write my 1 and I carry my 10 over to the tens place, and I have 3. And so my number now, I know, oops, that's supposed to be a 3. Let me just erase that. My number now is supposed to be 31. And when I go back and do my answer, I really only have to put it here. The triangle is just a tool to help me solve the problem, so you don't have to fill it in all the places. All right, let's try the next problem. The next problem says Mrs. Von Cannon had some glue sticks. Well, some is important because that tells me something that about the problem. I don't know how many she had, but she passed out 13 of them, and she had 24 left. So how many glue sticks did she start with? Well, if I'm using the cubes method, I'm going to go through and I'm going to circle the numbers. So I know that I've got 13 and I've got 24. And when I underline the question, I think that's what U is for. Box important words, yeah. Here's my question. How many glue sticks did she start with? Stop it. How many glue sticks did she start with? And then, oh, stop it. Okay. How many glue sticks did she start with is my question. So I'm going to underline that. And then box important words. Well, we talked about this at the beginning, that some is an important word because that tells me that I don't know the starting number, and she passed out 13 of them, so that's important too because that helps me know whether she added to her pile or took away from her pile of glue sticks. So I've got, I don't have any extra information that I don't need for E, and then S is for solving. So I'm going to, first of all, write my number sentence. Oh, stop it. First of all, I'm going to write my number sentence. I'm going to write that she had some, so I don't know that. I'm going to start with a box. And then she passed out 13 of them. Well, I know that when you pass something out, you're giving it away. So I'm going to say, over here, dude, minus 13. And then it said she had 24 left, so I know that is equals 24. All right, well, if I look over here at my little rhyme that I use, subtracting is 3, 2, 1, blast off. So that's how I number my problem, 3, 2, 1. So I'm going to get my pen again, and I'm going to number it, oh, stop it, 3, 2, and 1. So this tells me how to fill out my triangle. So let me make this a little teeny bit bigger so that you will be able to see my work and it won't be so hard to be neat. All right, 3. I don't know my 3, do I? I don't know my 3. So then I go to my 2, and 2 corner gets a 13, and my 1 corner, I know that gets a 24. And again, the only math problem I have happens to be 13 plus 24. Still, the 3 is the missing number. So I know how to stack and add. I'm going to do that. 13 plus 24 equals 3 and 4 is 7, and 1 and 2 is 3. So I know that 37 is my missing number because the triangle helped me solve it. All right, last one. Let's try this one. Mrs. Lee had 12 pairs of scissors. Mr. Hobbs bought her some more. Now she has 26 pairs. How many did Mr. Hobbs buy her? All right, so if we're going to use the cubes method, we're going to go through and we're going to circle the numbers in the problem. And U is underline the question. How many did Mr. Hobbs buy her? B is box the important words. Bought her some more, so he's going to be giving her some, which is going to tell us kind of what we would do when we write our number sentence. We don't have any extra information that's not part of the problem really, and so now we're left to solve it. So I'm going to write my number sentence. Looks like Mrs. Lee starts with 12 pairs of scissors. And then Mr. Hobbs bought her some more. So plus, and then box, because we don't know how many. And that equaled 26 when all was said and done. So what we're trying to find out is how many Mr. Hobbs bought her. So then what I'll do is I'll get my triangle over here and I will make it bigger so I can work in it. And you can see it good. Okay, so adding is as easy as 1, 2, 3. So then I'm going to need to make it's an adding sentence. So that's a 1, that's a 2, and that's a 3. Okay, so my 1 box gets a 12. And my 2 box, I don't know. And my 3 box gets a 26. Well, oh, that's messy, but you know what it's supposed to be. Well, let's look. Blank plus 12, that doesn't give me an answer that I need. 36 minus box, that doesn't help me. But here is the problem I can do. Now, you always start with the 3 number because remember, now it says to take away, so we go 3, 2, 1. So we're going to go backwards. So we're starting with, let me use a different color now. We're starting with 36, and we're taking away the 12, because the problem over there on the triangle shows us that that's the math we need to do. So 6 minus 2 is 4, and 3 minus 1 is 2. So we now know that Mr. Hobbs got her 24 more pairs of scissors for her classroom. So, friends, as you work through these problems, be sure to use your triangle. Be sure to remember that adding is as easy as 1, 2, 3, and subtracting uses 3, 2, 1, blast off. And use your triangle to help you decide how to solve the problem, how to set it up. One of the most important things, though, that you're going to do is this part, this part where you set up the number sentence. If you can set up your number sentence correctly based on the information in the word problem, then you're going to do just fine knowing how to use the triangle and solving. All right, guys, I hope this helps. Thank you.